The Realme 5S, it might look like the Realme 5, but it's got a few tricks up its sleeve, or camera bump in this case. Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech, and in today's video we're going to be unboxing this Realme 5S. If you do end up liking what you see in this unboxing video, please do go ahead and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Let's get this video started. Now this is the Realme 5S box. There's a picture of the front and back of the phone. Above it we have some important specs and the model name of the device, Realme 5S of course. To the top we have Realme branding. Turning it over to the side we have Realme 5S on there as well. And to the back there's a sticker with more information. This here is the crystal red variant, so that's new. To the bottom we find yet another sticker with all the specs detailed. Let's now slice through the seal, open up this box. The first thing we find inside is another white cardboard box. This one contains the regular documentation as well as a soft case. Putting those aside, let's now take a look at the phone itself. Let's take it out and carefully peel that plastic wrap off. The crystal red, it looks good. My colleague Amartya, he loves red phones and he absolutely adores this new variant. Me, I like it too. What about you? Let me know in the comments below. It's now time to turn the phone on, slipping on the protective case and keeping it aside. Let's now take a look at what else is inside the box. We have a 10-watt charger, a regular micro USB cable, the yellow accents on the ends, they are a nice touch. And oh, the final item in the box, almost glossed over it, it's this SIM ejector tool. So that's it for the box contents here. Nothing much has changed since the Realme 5. Let's now go in for a closer look at the 5S. Now, I began the video by calling the Realme 5S an incremental refresh of the Realme 5. Well, that's because this is not a complete overhaul of the design or the specs. In fact, there are only two real changes here. And that's what we're going to be totally concentrating on in this video. Because the rest we've already seen with the Realme 5. So if you've missed that, if you want to know more, I'm going to leave a card to my detailed hands-on video with the Realme 5. Go ahead, check that out. So the changes, first up, we have a new color, crystal red. I feel like this gradient finish, the color shifting, it's more visible here than with the blue. And the red, like I said earlier, we here at C4E Tech, we really like this color, but the color, the looks, it always boils down to personal preference. Beauty lies in the eye of the beholder and all that. Now, on to the second big change then, the 48 megapixel primary camera to the back. The Realme 5S now gets the Samsung ISOCELL GM1 sensor. So that's basically the same sensor that we've seen before with the Redmi Note 7S. It's paired with an f1.8 lens here on the Realme 5S. So how big of an improvement is it when compared to the 12 megapixel sensor from the last time around? Taking a look at these pictures side by side, we can clearly see that the dynamic range for one has improved with the 5S. Look at the shadows. The dark parts of the image, they have almost no detail when shot with the Realme 5, but they can actually be seen clearly on the image shot by the 5S. The detail levels, they're similar when in the 12 megapixel mode, but switch to 48, then take a look, the images are a bit sharper here. Zooming reveals more detail on the 5S. Chroma boost makes a return on the 5S too. It helps bump up the saturation a bit more. In certain situations it does a good job, like in this picture of this building, it's given the cloudy sky a more blue and sunny look, and it's increased the contrast. At times it looks good. Now we have a dedicated night mode here. We did have this with the Realme 5 as well, but one of the biggest advantages with the 48 megapixel Samsung sensor here is that it can do pixel binning, 4x1 pixel binning, and that means under low light we get much larger 1.6 micron sized pixels compared to the 1.25 micron sized pixels that we got with the Realme 5. Now this means the sensor allows more light in, which results in more detail captured, and the pictures we see here, they reflect that. The combination of the new hardware and software on the Realme 5S, it leads to much better low light pictures with nightscape. The photos, they're brighter, they have more detail and less noise in the darker areas. Now that said, there is one weird thing that we noticed, that was with portraits. Now the 2 megapixel depth sensor, it's remained the same, but the depth sensor is only used for edge detection, right? The primary camera is the one that takes the actual image. So I went in expecting the 5S to do better. The 5S is the better camera, right? The 48 megapixel Samsung ISO cell is the better sensor. But when we zoom in, we can see that the Realme 5 actually has more detail here than the 5S. How? Right? Looks like the 5S is putting on a kind of airbrush effect and smoothing out the skin. We looked around and couldn't really notice any beauty effects that we could turn off. So yeah, this is something I hope Realme fixes soon with an update. So Realme offering the color choice and the camera here, it's a nice little upgrade in terms of optics. The rest of the phone, like I said earlier, it's the same as what we've seen with the Realme 5, and you should really have watched my detailed hands-on video, or you should go watch that now. But in case you aren't doing that for any reason, here's a quick refresher, the short version. So what's remained the same when it comes to looks and design? The 5S is identical to the Realme 5. This means we have a similar looking diamond cut pattern to the back, and the overall weight and dimensions are virtually the same. Up front, we still get the same 6.5-inch LCD panel that's protected by Corning's Gorilla Glass 3 Plus. The resolution remains HD+. Powering all these pixels is still the same solid Snapdragon 665 AIE, along with 4 gigs of RAM and 64 or 128 gigs of internal storage. There's also a dedicated micro SD card slot for added storage expansion and a massive 5000 mAh battery, which is a reason why this phone weighs almost 200 grams. Now in hand, the 5S has a certain heft to it, but the curved edges and balanced weight distribution makes for a pretty good in-hand feel. Well, the primary camera has been upgraded. The wide angle, macro and depth sensors, they've remained the same. The 13 megapixel selfie camera also remains unchanged. So given the upgraded camera and the color, where does that leave us with regards to pricing? Well, Realme has priced the 5S at $9999. It starts at that price for the 464. Now that is 1000 rupees more than the Realme 5, but it is getting double the storage. So the 5S starts with 464 as base. Now that's another difference here from the 5. So there is 1 gig of extra RAM, double the storage, 332 is the base for the Realme 5, 464 for the 5S, and for that there is 1000 rupees extra that Realme is charging us. The 464 Realme 5 was already selling for 10,000 rupees, so they're just offering the 48 megapixel camera at the same price. Now this is better than what Redmi did with the Redmi Note 7 when they actually bought the 7S with the same Samsung ISO cell GM1 upgrade. They actually charged us 1000 rupees more. Here they're charging us 1000 rupees more, but just replacing a higher variant. So I actually feel this is a better upgrade. That is one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it would be, hey, if you're someone who's just bought a Realme 5, there is reason for you to be bummed out, because this is exactly the same price as what you would have paid for a 64 gig Realme 5. So let me know where on this spectrum do you fall. Are you happy to see Realme offer this phone at 10,000 rupees, or do you feel it's too early for them to upgrade, come out of the new model, and do you feel bummed out that you just bought a Realme 5? What do you feel about the 5S? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of this quick little unboxing and hands-on. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about this video. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4 Retech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.